Well, a warm welcome, everybody. It may be slightly damp, but we're back nonetheless, and it's Spa-Francorchamps weekend for round 2 of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. And after what was a tremendous visit at Hockenheimring, a grandiose return to the championship for Rafael Camara, as well as the Prema Racing team. Camara managing to take victory in race 1, getting his season off to that perfect start. Remember, of course, partnering the likes of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, as well as Lorenzo Flusha last season. It's now his turn to rise to the forefront at Prema as their team leader, with 2 new teammates on his side. As I said, Prema Racing looking in great form, but so are Van Amersfoort Racing, with a lot of the discussion centred around that perhaps they could be championship challengers come the end of the season, given the fact that they've got such a talented lineup of rookie drivers with the likes of Pedro Clero, Ivan Dominguez and Brando Bador. Very excited to see how they get on. Ivan Dominguez, of course, scooping up a podium already this campaign so far. Currently sits 3rd in the overall standings, and also battling Evan Gilter, who is also one of the stories from Hockenheim, taking victory in race 2 and leading the Rookies Championship as well as P2 in the overalls. Ivan Dominguez in 2nd in the rookies alike as well. But it's great to be back here at Spa. MP Motorsport, of course, out on track, and of course it's a very obviously a very well-meant moment. Obviously this weekend we need to remember, of course, Delano Van 't Hoff, who sadly passed away last year. There was an immense tribute given as the course of the week went on Thursday. They all went up to the Kemmel Straight, and there was a floral presentation, and of course a tragic moment in the sport, but great to have everyone here and racing for Delano this weekend. And speaking of obviously some updates we've also had come in through the course of the championship and also this weekend too. Some of you might have seen the latest news as well, that there's a new award being presented, the Resilience Award, presented alongside partners Pirelli, where the driver that makes the most positions through the course of a race will be awarded a trophy, and on top of that some points to go towards basically the Resilience Championship, which at the end of the season, the driver with the most Resilience points will take home the Pirelli tyre, the famed Pirelli tyre. And I tell you what, it's great to obviously have that, promoting racing, the competitive spirit, the competitive nature around motorsport. And here at Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, we are looking to bring that to the forefront. But qualifying now well and truly underway. We of course have 2 groups of drivers heading out for qualifying as standard, and Group A will be the first heading out, and we'll be looking to persevere onwards, of course. And looking at this opening group, we do of course have Rafael Camara, Ivan Dominguez, Turca Tappinen, Enzo Dellini, Theophile Nile, as well as Alessandro Giusti, Nicola Lacorte, as well as Nikhil Bora, Valerio Rinicella, Enzo Peugeot, Ruiki Liu, as well as Kanato Lay, Hesse Carrasquedo, Marta Garcia, and Yaroslav Vesalaho and Costa Taparis, as we now await the qualifying to come in. Of course, the times will improve, I'd imagine, as the session goes on, as we're currently seeing it on screen. Ruiki Liu crossing the line first and foremost to set his initial lap. So we will see the fast laps be pushed out as we now make our way through the session. Do bear with me, folks. We have lost our feed here in the commentary box, so do stand by. But Ruiki Liu obviously not setting the fastest first sector so far. Theophile Nile has actually taken that, took a tap in, and now ripping it away with a 42.405. And joins this championship this season, hoping to once again launch a charge this time around. Very formidable force, taking part in F4 UAE in 2023, where he was, of course, a runner-up in that championship. Now back again. Looks like the feed has come back as well, guys. So that's positive news here now. 10 minutes and 40 to go, and we're now watching the Prema driver make his way around the track. That, of course, being Rafael Camara, as I said, partnered Andrea Kimi Antonelli last season, as well as Lorenzo Flusha, just getting a little wobble heading through the P1 section. Of course, the track is still quite greasy. We had, during the collective tests, remember, of course, collective test 1, unfortunately not going ahead due to the severity of the weather. We were back for collective test 2, where James Wharton would go fastest in that session. So Prema looking really strong. Of course, as I said before, Rafael Camara fastest in the pre-collective tests in the run-up to the weekend. That was, of course, a 6-hour session that the drivers took part in. Camara shining through all of that too, and the Brazilian looking to become champion for the first time here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, in a bid to persevere in his career. Ferrari Driver Academy member as well is Rafael Camara. Running wide though, coming off the back of Blanchimont. That's not ideal. Certainly won't help the lap. Purple sectors currently flying all over the place right now. Enzo Peugeot currently fastest, 2.1 seconds faster than Nikhil Bora. Alessandro Giusti, French F4 champion from 2022, was third fastest. Nikhil Bora has taken that away from him. Enzo Dellini currently sat behind Enzo Peugeot as well. Since the tale of two Enzos, they've now been split by Ivan Dominguez, who goes second fastest. Jesse Carrasquedo now hops up to fourth. And still more times flurrying in now. Tuka Tappinen currently reduced down to 15th fastest as more cars go past. Marta Garcia from Iron Dames in 11th fastest. Camara only posting a time that's enough for 5th fastest in this initial, but did have that unfortunate mistake coming through Blanchimont. Enzo Peugeot has just gone fastest in the first sector as well. This is a replay, just skipping over the curbs and running well out wide. You just see how much of an uncomfortable ride he had coming through that final sector as well. But Camara doing well to shuffle his way back out onto the track, and will look to try and improve in the laps to come. Enzo Peugeot, purple again in Sector 1, looking really strong as they now make their way around on yet another flying lap. And we're just witnessing there Nikhil Bora switching from Trident to MP Motorsport this season. Someone who is no stranger to the podium as well. In his career has achieved a podium already, and surely there's more in the offing for him. MP Motorsport usually would have Nikita Bedarin joining them this weekend too, but of course Bedarin competing in a split campaign with FIA F3 this season. Enzo Peugeot once again improving, currently just half a second, and still remains purple in the second sector. Of course, there's still a number of cars in pursuit, and I can tell you that that purple second sector has been taken away by Niall, who's now registered as 71.954 in that middle sector. Personal improvements across the track still coming in. Tuka Tappinen taking that purple second sector away once again. So now Enzo Peugeot heading down in towards the bus stop chicane for Santalok Racing, who are improving time on time here since they've joined this championship. Of course, formerly, well, many of you know Santalok as GT3. A GT3 teammate. Well, Giusti did take P1 for a brief moment, but Enzo Peugeot taking it back, registering that 2:32.536. So that's a fantastic time for him. To certainly goes to show the track generation. Oh, and we have a little moment here. Now that's a Trident, but is that a Trident? Yeah, no. Car number 7. Nicola Lecorte, who we caught up with yesterday during Paddock Live, and yes, it is the Trident. Spins off into the grass, and groundskeepers are not going to be happy with that. Fancy putting tyre tracks in their lovely green grass. Incredible. Lecorte has got to try and now make his way back out onto the circuit. A gardener's nightmare here at Spa. So we're now watching them make their way through towards, coming through Les Combes section before they then reach Malmedy. But it's still Enzo Peugeot at the head of the order. French F4 runner-up in 2023. Just missed out on the title. Who was champion? It was Evan Gilter, race winner in race 2 back at Hockenheim. And I'm sure we'll be seeing Gilter when he makes his way out on track later on. Of course, as I said before, 2 groups line up in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. And whoever is fastest in either group, the fastest driver, the fastest time in the group, sees them start on pole position, with the rest of the group filing in behind them, with the opposing group on the other side of the track lining up in order of pace as well from qualifying. As you now see Enzo Peugeot coming through Le Fanier, daring not to go anywhere near the curbs. Obviously, given the fact that they are quite slick, you don't want to unsettle the car. Rafael Camara now hurtling through the P1 section Like I said, championship leader coming into this one. Enzo Peugeot improving again. First sector wasn't brilliant, but the second sector was stellar. And you do find a majority of your time through that second sector. That is where you're most likely to find that improvement, because just the sheer technicality behind it. A 70.657 on part of Enzo Peugeot in that second sector, looking to try and deliver something now in the third if he can. His last time at 2:32.536 as he comes out of bus stop. Once again, 95 thousandths behind him is Niall as well. Giusti goes fastest, but Peugeot takes it back. A fabulous time there from Enzo Peugeot. Nickel Bora, fourth fastest, just within 2 seconds of that P1 time, but he's improved more so. Rafael Camara's got a little bit of traffic in front of him here, and that's, of course, Yaroslav Vesalovo, Vesaloho, I should say, who unfortunately had to jump out of the way. Camara's going to have to go again to try and find that optimal lap. Has actually managed to find himself 6th fastest, however, so it's not a bad visit so far for the Brazilian, but certainly no way fastest. Tuka Tapinen now going 2nd fastest, and within 3.5 tenths of a second, setting that purple third sector at 38.023, which brought him to the top, well, certainly brought him to the top 2 here in this Group A session. Personal improvements as well for Niall in 6th, and also for Alessandro Giusti as well, who has been flirting with that top time. Car 89 has got a time deletion. That's Ivan Dominguez having his time deleted at turn 10, which is heading through Puon, so he must have extended out a little too far wide. Just spread over that white line just a little too much, and has seen his time deleted now. 3 minutes to go as we currently pan across to see Rafael Camara in red 5 here this weekend for the Prema team, and now hustling down through towards Puon out of the Jackie Expend, as he now, with a green displaying the personal improvement that he has made already in that first sector, he's going to look to try and find further improvements once again. In fact, it's purple in the first sector for Rafael Camara, the Brazilian who is already 3 times a race winner here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. 8 podiums to his name, 4 pole positions, would love to make it 5. Alessandro Giusti has just gone purple in the second sector as well. So let's see if Camara can topple him this time around. Like I said, personal improvement in that first sector. If he can hook things up coming through Campus and Stavolo before coming through Corbe, Paul Frere, then hopefully he can find a little more, as we now witness car number 10 of Alessandro Giusti coming up towards the line. Now he's been constantly knocking and chopping at that wood between he and Enzo Peugeot, and Giusti has gone fastest. Enzo Peugeot now down beyond 2.5 tenths of a second. But all eyes are going to be on Rafael Camara to see whether he can topple Giusti's time, because he was fastest in that first sector. It's a 70.8 in sector 2 for Camara, which incidentally is around 7 tenths off that pace. Camara awaited to come through that final sector, as we now see Giusti hop over the curbs, heading up now the hill towards the Kemmel Straight. They're in behind, as well as the Santalot car belonging to Enzo Peugeot, who's been certainly fighting it out. The 2 French F4 drivers historically now together here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, but different teams, with one donning the ART car and the other racing for Santalot. Camara did incidentally go 2nd fastest and actually took the purple 3rd sector time, but just due to the fact that he was around 7 tenths slower in that middle sector, wasn't enough for that fastest time. But just look at the gap, 98 thousandths between them up at the top 2. Enzo Peugeot, though, has just managed to find purple in that first sector this time as well. So it's all starting to chop and change. The track improving, they're finding grip. As you can see, it's looking a lot less damp out there. So the drivers can now, I suppose in their eyes, afford to maybe push that little bit harder, that they now have that little bit of extra grip to play with. And the benefits, as far as Enzo Peugeot is concerned, if he can get a nice run off the back of Alessandro Giusti's car, it will go in his favour. One thing I will say, there is no personal improvement from Giusti in this first sector, and Peugeot's the only one improving so far in all sectors. He's done a personal improvement in sector 1. He's purple in the second sector. Giusti has personally improved as well, but it's certainly not enough to be considered purple. It is currently all in the hands of potentially Enzo Peugeot. He's just beyond 2.5 tenths slower than P1 Alessandro Giusti. If he gets a big run out of Blanchimont, down in towards bus stop here this time around, it could make the difference. Enzo Peugeot looking for that fastest time. Giusti will cross the line first and foremost, though. Still holds on to P1 just for now, but it's all about this crucial last sector as he heads out towards the line. Peugeot goes fastest ahead of Alessandro Giusti. So has managed to dig a little deeper and pull out a 2:29.587 out of the hat, and that is beyond 0.3 of a second faster than Alessandro Giusti as well. The checkered flag has come down, so the remaining laps are going to come through. Valerio Rinicella goes 9th fastest, was being tutored by the great Giancarlo Fisichella as well, who was a former Formula 1 driver, now since has raced in Italian GT. But the flag being waved, and it's Enzo Peugeot, fastest in Group A with a 2:29.587. Fantastic there for Enzo Peugeot. A raw talent who was fantastic in his pursuit of an F4, French F4 championship, but Evan Gilter beat him to the punch on that occasion. But some magnificent talents coming through out of the junior categories at this moment in time, all of them looking to persevere and become future Formula 1 drivers. Of course, we had Andrea Kimi Antonelli win the title last season and is now being touted as a potential Mercedes driver. Of course, he is part of the Mercedes team, but many putting him in the conversation for a Formula 1 seat next season. Let's take you through the results from Group A, provisional results, of course, folks. Enzo Peugeot, fastest here at the end of Group A, qualifying 1 with a 2:29.587. Alessandro Giusti in second, Rafael Camara third, Ivan Dominguez in fourth, Nikhil Bora fifth, Theophar Nile in sixth, with Tuka Tappinen seventh, Enzo Dellini in eighth, Valerio Rinicella in ninth, Ruiki Liu in 10th, with Nicola Lacorte in 11th place, Costa Tapari in 12th, Yaroslav Vasalaho in 13th, Kanato Lay in 14th, and Marta Garcia for Ryan Dames in 15th place. Jose Carrasquedo would come across the line in 16th place to complete his run as well. So the Mexican will be starting on the back row of the grid, but now it's the turn of Group B, and they'll now know what they've got to deal with. And we'll look onwards and await to see who can champion this session. Due to get away on time at 20 to 11. So should be in the next minute or so as the drivers stand by and get set to go racing. Now in this group we have Matteo De Paolo, Ugo Ugachukwu, who comes in after a very busy couple of seasons racing in the likes of Italian F4. He was a runner-up in 2023. Actually finishing behind in that big championship fight with F3's Kak Pastuka, who is now doing exceptionally well in that championship, and was also P3 back in British F4 as well. So a great chance for him to potentially come up and challenge here in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Roman Belinsky, the most experienced driver on the grid, who's managed to amass over 42 appearances, 42 starts in this championship. And, now looking to go faster here this time around as well. Has also been crowned a champion in his own right during the off-season. But this is Group B, everybody. And a warm welcome if you're just joining us as well for the first time here at Spa-Francorchamps. The clock now ticks. The cars being let out onto the track. 14 minutes and 50 and counting. And let's take you through the rest of the grid. Alex Sauer as well, part of this lineup. Brando Bador, Roman Andriolo, as well as Edgar Pierre, Dorian Pin, and Anandavud Biram Bhakti, and Giovanni Maschio, Noah Stromstead. All these guys, Zachary David as well, all looking to register their times on the board. Evan Chilter. Now we've got to talk a little bit about Roman Andriolo, because as I alluded to, the most overtakes being awarded with the Resilience Award. Well, the first one to win it will, of course, be Roman Andriolo, after his brilliant work back at Hockenheim, will be a recipient of the Resilience Award, and deservedly so as well, given the fact that he's been a fantastic talent. The time to beat, though, in this session is, of course, that 2:29.587 for Enzo Peugeot, after a tremendous finish to that Group A run. So it's advantage to Santalok here in this instance, and they have done a tremendous job in improving the team. Just running a little wide there. That was very close, coming through Jackie Expend. Very nearly venturing into the gravel trap. Didn't quite see or catch which car that was, but yeah, very scary moment. Could have taken two cars out of qualifying at the very start. That's not the way to kickstart your session, chaps, as we now see them head through towards the Puon section now. 30 minutes to go. It's all about getting those tyres up to temperature, get them prepped, ready for the run, and now they're currently just siphoning their way through Sector 2 into towards Sector 3. And right now, as we're looking at it, Evan Gilter is going to be the first driver to set a flying lap here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. He's heading through, or certainly in this Group B session, heading through the Blanchimont corner and in towards bus stop. RPM looking for a busy weekend as well. Noah Stromsted, who we're just capturing in picture, the Danish superstar, stepping back in, made a few appearances last season and really impressed the likes of everybody watching on. And RPM have always been a team that has prided themselves on success in the past, and with Keith Donegan at the helm, they've got a great opportunity. Now, that car that's just gone into the pits now, I'm just looking at my commentary box window, I think must have an issue, because that was the car we saw just run a little deep heading in towards Jackie X. So whether they've got an issue with setup or it could be a problem with the tyres, I'm not quite sure, but they've come straight into the pits. Maybe just to give it a once-over, just give it a check before they venture straight back out on track. But yeah, some crazy scenes there to kick-start this Group B session. So now Stromsted now flies through a Rouge and Radion. Pursuing after Pedro Clearo. We alluded to Van Amersfoort's prospects this season. Ivan Dominguez already providing them with two fantastic finishes in Hockenheim, including one podium to boot as well. Managed to find that podium in race 2, and on top of that, put himself in the rookie championship equation alongside the likes of Evan Gilter and Enzo Delini, who also scored points in both races. Granted, only one in race 1, but 12 in race 2 in terms of a rookie standpoint. This is Alex Sauer, just getting the rear stepped out and spinning the car coming through La Source. Not ideal at all. So he's going to be looking to come straight back out again. As you can see it, just really swinging that rear end around, coming through out of turn 1. So the kick driver is going to have to try and reset and get back underway. But RPM coming in with some new talents as well. Obviously one face that we did see last season, Giovanni Maschio, moving into RPM with Edgar Pierre, rookie driver this season. We did hear from Keith Donegan that they haven't had as much time with Edgar Pierre as they had with the likes of Giovanni Maschio, who obviously has a leg up on this championship given the fact he competed last season. Noah Stromsted, who also ran last season, only a few appearances though, so still qualifies as a rookie driver. And speaking to Keith Donegan, he felt that they underperformed back at Hockenheimring, felt that they could get something a little more out of the weekend. But someone, as I said, who knows the car, understands the car, and has raced in this championship himself in the past. Remember, it's only early doors, this being the second round of the championship as well. Pedro Clearo about to cross the line now to commence his flying lap. Fastest time currently Evan Gilter with a 2:29.598, purple in the second, two final sectors, a 69.818 and a 37.432. Zachary David in second, with Noah Stromsted third fastest. Pedro Clearo fourth fastest after setting that initial lap, 2:30.268. just over 6/10 of a second, 6.5 of a second behind Evan Gilter's top time. More time still to come through, though. Lena Bula marking her return to the championship. Alex Sauer, who spun the car earlier on, Brando Bador as well in this field. But it's Evan Gilter, the reigning F4, French F4 champion. And he's going faster again in that first sector, unbelievable. It's gone purple. Noah Stromstead did briefly have that in accordance. In fact, I think he's stolen it. A 41.496 in the first sector for Noah Stromstead. So remember, the time to beat is that 2:29.587, and we're already very close to beating it. Evan Gilter's initial time of a 2:29.598 already nearly enough to take on track and overall pole position. Obviously, if they do beat Enzo Peugeot's time, that does mean that this group will be starting on pole position and therefore file in behind the pole sitter. Evan Gilter, rookie driver who could yet cause a stir in the overall championship, comes into this the runner-up so far this season in terms of championship points. Rafael Camara still the king of the castle here with 43 to his name. 25 he took in the opening race, took 18 points then out of race 2. 25 points for Evan Gilter, though, after taking the second race win. Didn't score any points in race 1, but I tell you what, if he keeps this up, he could be on for a bright weekend here at Spa. Finding a whole second in that second sector. It looks like Enzo Peugeot's time is going to be well and truly beaten. The track improving time after time. Evan Gilter crosses the line, and where's he going to be this time around? It certainly will be a 2:28.382 for Evan Gilter. Furiously fast final sector, 37.261. But Zachary David has just taken that provisional pole away from him, a 2:28.285, 48 thousandths faster than Pedro Clero, who's now popped himself into second place. So this is again something that Van Amersfoort are going to be delighted to see. Like we said, we alluded to Dominguez being one to watch, but it certainly looks like Pedro Clero in his own right, bringing himself to the table. Scored 8 points back at Hockenheim in race 2. Didn't score in race 1, but if they keep this up, Van Amersfoort and Daniel Gilles will have a lot to celebrate come the end of the season. But still early days. We have 6 minutes and 30 still to go here in this session. But there's Zachary David. He's already marched out a personal improvement in this sector, but I will say this, Pedro Clero faster than him by nearly 3/10 of a second. So it could yet all change. Quite a magnitude of rookie drivers partaking here in Group B, but proving that even these rookie drivers, we just see Zachary David flicking that rear out too much as well as he now dashes into that gravel trap. We've seen a few drivers very nearly making their way in there, and despite going purple in that first sector, I get the feeling that perhaps it's all been ripped away after just dipping those tyres into the gravel trap. That's certainly not going to help the lap time for Zachary David. Still fastest overall here in this session and will take pole position should this continue. But I tell you what, a major moment, just getting that rear right tyre stuck in the gravel coming through Jackie Expen, but still, like I said before, he was 1/10 of a second up out of the first sector. Pedro Clero going fastest in sector 2. There he is right now for Van Amersfoort. The burning orange and black mixed together to create what could be bright colour, I say purple, here in this session. You never know. As he now hurtles through Blanchimont corner, whipping the tail out now as he hurtles down towards the final chicane on track. As you can just see, they're heavy on the brakes. He can dare to push them that little bit more, and that will help the Delta as he now comes through the final bend, cruising out of turn 19 now as he makes his way up towards the line, putting the burners on. It certainly was a clear run heading through sector 3. Is it enough to take provisional? It certainly is enough to take provisional pole, at least for now. But with 4 minutes and 30, nothing is final. A purple second sector for Pedro Clero, advancing his charge nearly 2.5 of a second faster than Matteo De Palo, who has placed his car higher and higher. Now that's another Sansalot car that we've got to keep our eyes peeled on, because remember, it's Enzo Peugeot who was fastest in Group A Oh! And that's a Prema 13. That's James Wharton, fastest in collective test 2 in the barrier, coming out of Eau Rouge and Raidillon. And I must say, that is certainly going to be a red flag. It is a red flag. The session has been stopped. Let's take a look at what happened. Oh, goodness me, the tyre coming loose, heading over Eau Rouge and Raidillon, just making contact with a barrier. And the Australian, fortunately, seeing his car find its way into the barrier, spinning across the track and then into the side section, heading through towards Kemmel. Unfortunate end to his qualifying session, but great to see he's okay and out of the car. But a huge moment. We got a chance to speak to him yesterday, and obviously we were discussing the fact that Spa can be an unknown quantity when it comes to racing. We've seen times change across the weekend. The conditions have changed as well. We had a very wet day yesterday, first thing in the morning, and all of a sudden it dried up towards the very end of the day as well. But obviously despondent that his session has ended like this, and you can just see the frustrations in James Wharton as well. But he gave it everything. Pedro Clero, though, with the fastest time of a 2:27.723, with Matteo De Paulo in what could have been potentially a Santaloc Racing front row. Now, that would be quite something for the team, but nevertheless, to have a car on the second row of the grid and on the front row, now that's a huge deal. But we'll take another look here at what happened. Just coming over the top of the crest, contact with the barrier, quite the impact. And credit to the safety, of course, of the way these cars are built. James Wharton as well hopping out of the car, which is great to see. But now beached into the grass on the side of the circuit, coming up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon onto Kemmel. But certainly a busy qualifying session. The drivers are out of the car for now. We have got confirmation. We did see the pictures, of course. The driver is okay, which is great to see. And obviously James Wharton, a fantastic young talent. As the cars now make their way out, it looks like we are going to get those final 4 minutes and 15 potentially as well. So sit tight, everybody. We will wait until we get an official message come through with regards to whether we will get restarted here in Group B. But many of the teams and drivers just getting themselves sorted out. There is Pedro Clero, though, who's peeling into his position. And no doubt he's going to be absolutely thrilled with his performance so far. Managing to pull out the bag at 2:27.723 to go fastest. They're still cleaning out the wreckage here, so no way they can restart unless they get the car removed off the track. So we'll await whether we'll get back underway. Still under red flag conditions at the moment, folks. We will keep you informed as to what's going to happen. But an immense effort from all the drivers all round. Zachary David was looking very promising, I must say, as well. Third fastest. Just that dip into the gravel trap. What could have been, because he was purple in that first sector on that very lap, but just dipping that rear right into the gravel out of Jackie Ick certainly punished him. And he's going to have to come back fighting through the course of the race. Brando Badour, though, qualifying 4th in Group B. So that is a Van Amersfoort car, currently provisional pole, with the other 4th place in Group B. That is quite something. Evan Gilter, who wowed everybody back at Hockenheimring, 5th in this group with Noah Stromstead in behind him. Dorian Pin, great to have her joining us as well in the championship this season with Iron Dames. She qualified 9th in the group, faster than Roman Belinsky and Nandavud Birambakti, and Roman Andriolo, who qualified 12th. Remember, the recipient of the Racilience Award this weekend. And I certainly think that is a great initiative for all these drivers, and you know, great to have Pirelli on board and partnering it as well alongside the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and a grand incentive for drivers to really show off what they can do. And we do like to reward brilliance where it comes to racing. But it's interesting to note, we've obviously got, the sectors are quite diverse in terms of who's purple and where. Evan Giltaire, incidentally enough, fastest in the first sector. But if you look at the third sector, James Wharton was actually fastest. And it's a shame that his session had to come to an end like that, in the barrier, while in P13 at this point, which I'm sure will be devastating for him, certainly given the fact that he was so good in collective test 2, managing to take P1 in that session, and has got some incredible form behind him as well. The F4 UAE champion in 2023, and has competed in various championships even prior to that, competing in Italian F4, finishing 4th in that championship, runner-up in Euro 4 last season as well. But an astounding talent, and has been also competing in the Formula Regional Middle Eastern Championship. And Rafael Kamara alongside him with Ugo Gachukwu. They're going to be a phenomenal force at Prema once again. If we look back at some of the great Prema drivers that we have seen over the years, I mean, most notably, you can remember Dino Beganovic back in 2022 would actually win here in race 1. Of course, during that same campaign, Gabriel Bortoleto would go on to take the race 2 victory, and we all know what happened to Bortoleto after that. Ferraris GP would eventually become the Formula 3, the FIA Formula 3 champion off the back of that. But Prema team themselves, teams champions back-to-back from 2022 to 2023. And they have had 2 drivers' champions over the last 2 years with Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Dino Beganovic alike. And one of them touted to be a Formula 1 driver as soon as next year. And what a thought that is, when we consider that only last season we saw Andrea Kimi Antonelli racing in this series, and could yet be alongside George Russell at Mercedes in next season's Formula 1 campaign. Just a statement as to how incredible these young drivers truly are. And off the back of that, we got a chance to speak to Antonio Liuzzi yesterday on Paddock Live, and he's here on the basis, of course, he works with the FIA, working with young talents, and he's here with the Formula Regional young talents this weekend as well, imparting that veteran wisdom that he carries. And he even stated that some of these drivers are greater athletes than many of the old heads that we saw back in the day. And that is just simply how the sport has progressed over so many years. We're now seeing so many new, fresh-faced talents. I mean, even looking in this grid alone, you've got, French F4 champions. We've got 2 of them from back-to-back years with Evan Giltaire and Alessandro Giusti, incidentally sharing the same team as well at ART. So ART have not come here to mess around. They've come here to play. And with the right raw young talents they do have behind the wheel, you definitely expect ART to be in the mix this season. RSGP also with a new bright crop of young athletes. They had Tim Tramnitz last season, who has also now moved on into FIA F3 alike. And just getting the time behind this Tartus chassis, providing drivers with a useful foundation before heading into the F3 category, and furthermore building on the talents that they possess. But going back to having Iron Dames part of the championship too, of course, making their debut during the Hockenheim weekend. I mean, just having truly inspirational members of the grid. Dorian Pino has really captured the attention after what happened back at Saudi Arabia during the Grand Prix weekend at Jeddah in F1 Academy. Of course, she's now a Mercedes Academy driver, back-to-back wins at Jeddah, and really caught the eye and made a real difference, I'm sure, in terms of her own career, and certainly in a position in trying to push for an F1 Academy championship. She's got an F1 Academy champion alongside her in Marta Garcia, who took the crown last campaign. So Iron Dames very well equipped coming into a brand new Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine season, and great to see Lena Bühler back as well. She was an F1 Academy 2023 runner-up, just in behind Marta Garcia. So they're really flying the flag out there here in this series. But Still in the red flag conditions. The car is still, though, very much primed in the pit lane. We could yet get one final run to upset the apple cart. And I must say, whilst obviously we've got no rain out there, there is still a chance that we could yet find improvements. That is, of course, whether we will resume, and we will resume. So speak of the devil, session will resume at 11:05 local time. So in the next 4 minutes, we will see the engines roar back into action here at Spa-Francorchamps, and potentially Pedro Clero's time might be in jeopardy. Credit to the marshals for getting, obviously, James Wharton's car collected and cleaned up. They do such a sterling job, as they always do. And we should get back underway very, very soon. So thank you, every one of you at home, for your patience. And we'll look forward to seeing, hopefully, a truly exciting conclusion to what has already been a very exciting qualifying. And looking at some of the other names that... obviously, we've got to talk about Santalot Racing with the fact that they've got Enzo Peugeot now part of the team, the French F4 runner-up. Matteo Di Pardo looking like a real threat too after putting his car second fastest in this lineup, just in behind Pedro Clero, and he's not far away. He's just under 2.5 tenths of a second out. So, you know, that's very easy to find around a circuit like Spa, given the fact that, like I said, you've got the straight line speed sections coming through Sector 1, but then you get the technical part coming through Sector 2, where you meet the incredible Pouhon section in towards Le Fagnier. Campus and Stavelot can open up a few doors for you too. So who knows? It could be the case that we get to see 2 Santalot cars on the front row. What a moment that could be. Zachary David also looking to fly the flag for our race GP. Formula Regional Middle Eastern driver from 2024, earlier on this year, where he finished P3 in that championship. And still looking for grander success here in this series too. But I still don't think we've seen the best from Evan Gilter. He is certainly a rich, raw talent. Of course, ART have had winners here in the past with Gregoire Saucy, who won in 2021. That has been their only winner here at Spa to date. But incidentally, Gregoire Saucy did put it on pole for that very race in 2021. So who knows? It could be Evan Gilter who brings that success back to them this time around. I mean, it's incredible to think that when we consider 2021, that is now 3 years from where we are now. But we have got confirmation as well that the lap time set by James Wharton, his car was deleted for causing the red flag, so his best time removed. So therefore he will be at the back of the grid and will not be partaking. So he'll be lining up alongside Jesse Carrasquedo at the back row of the grid, heading into the race later on. There's a little bit of engine activity down there as they look to get prepped, ready to go out. Of course, remember 11:05 being the time for us to get going again. That is, of course, local time here at Spa-Francorchamps. So we are now in the final minutes before the cars venture to the bottom of the pit lane. Pedro Clero, the fastest driver out on track right now, the Brazilian with a 2:27.723. If that time stays, that is the pole time. Ahead of Enzo Peugeot, who will join him on the front row should that time be made official come the end of the session. Matteo Di Pardo, though, is going to do everything he can in the remaining minutes to stop that from happening. Zachary David as well. Can he find something in the die moments? Essentially, given the fact that they've got only a couple of minutes to get underway to warm the tyres up, this is going to be a one-lap dash to the line, a one best lap dash. Obviously, the track has had an opportunity to cool down, so that's probably going to be a challenge for many of the drivers. But they now get back, or look to get themselves back out onto the track. First and foremost, though, leaving their pit bays. And there we have it. They make their way back out onto the circuit. And qualifying is now officially back underway. We're now within the final 4 minutes here at Spa. Now it's a case of getting the tyres up to the appropriate temperature for a last lap pursuit. A last little bit of magic. Will it be Pedro Clero? Will it be Matteo Di Paolo? let's wait and see. As we now already see a little bit of battle for track space and free air as well. Up at the top end, of course, Jaroslav Vesalaho looking to try and, what should I say, his teammate, I should say, Evan Gilter, looking to get that clear run out in front. Just running wide. There's the McLaren livery. That one belonging to Ugo Gachukwu. Just runs out wide, coming through the Rivage section. Lena Bula as well heading out of the jacking expense. So in these final few minutes, they've got to try and get those tyres, the core tyre temperature, back up to the correct level. The current track temperature out there right now is 14.5 degrees, so certainly nowhere near where we've seen it at its most optimal. But humidity stands at 89% as well, so very high in the context. We did have a lot of rain first thing this morning, so as it's been allowed to dissipate, it has made the air quite thick. The current air temperature currently stands at 11.7 degrees as well, so it's definitely going to come down to the drivers to dig deep and see what they can muster in these closing moments. But already the drivers going to work, the spray being kicked up once again, this time by Matteo De Paolo as he hurtles through towards the Blanchimont section. Further up there we can see Roman Belinsky, as I said, most experienced driver in this field. 42 starts here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Has managed to register a podium as well in his quest for grander success in this series. He's had a wonderful off-season where he has, of course, laid claim to race victories and championship success, and looking for that little bit more here this time around here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. There he is now, Roman Belinsky, currently sat 10th fastest, 3.2 off the top, and looking for that optimal lap now as he rushes through over the crest, coming through Eau Rouge and Radion and up towards Kemmel. Let's see if the pole can extract something out of these closing moments here. As we now watch Evan Gilter now coming through the first sector, and he has improved as well. So Evan Gilter finding just over half a second, and Roman Belinsky has found 7/10 purple in that first sector. So I tell you what, folks, there's enough in this. It is a one-lap dash. Extraordinary. Zachary David fastest in sector 2. It's going to come down to the final moments here in qualifying, so do not go away because you don't want to miss this. Already Matteo De Paolo going green in the first sector as well. Purple in the first sector, as I said, for Roman Belinsky. Still holds on to it. Nothing's changed in that with Evan Gilter holding on to that personal improvement, but can he find something else in sector 2? Belinsky will be digging deep. You can bet your bottom dollar of that to add to that first sector time that has brought him now into this potential provisional pole equation as he now heads down in towards Campus and Stavolo. Takes a nice wider line so he can cut in deep here, maximise the speed and momentum. Purple in the second sector here for Evan Gilter as the checkered flag now comes down. Belinsky steals the second purple sector time. This is looking like a right thrill right here. Evan Gilter with a 3.165 improvement in that middle sector. Belinsky with a 3.4 as they rush through towards Blanchimont now. Trident, no doubt, will be watching on. They've had so much success in the past in both F3 and F2 as well, but here in Formula Regional, looking to chase for a potential grand success here this weekend. Belinsky has been their longest servant. It's still, though, Gilter will cross the line first, takes pole away from Pedro Claro. Roman Belinsky to the top has taken that provisional pole position away. Matteo De Paolo unseats Gilter for second fastest. Ugo Gachukwu goes fourth fastest now, 1.2 off the top time as we now see more cars come across the line. That is, of course, Giovanni Maschio, who goes sixth fastest as well. And more cars streaming across the Iron Dames. Dorian Pin going fifth fastest in this instant. Nandavud Birambakti unseats her for fifth place this time around. Still more cars coming through. Noah Stromstead has taken the purple second sector time. And as he makes his way up towards the line, we just witnessed there as well, car number 6, belonging to Alex Sauer, who goes 7th quickest, but all eyes now on the RPM because Noah Stromstead fastest in that middle sector. Surely he cannot break past Roman Bielinski and take his top time away. He can't. Second fastest for the Danish superstar, but he goes ahead of Matteo De Paolo. As we now witness the rest of the cars making their way up towards the line. Zachary David, personal improvements in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Will he jump the order? He certainly will. Zachary David going 3rd fastest ahead of De Paolo, just in behind Noah Stromstead as well. But wow, what a session, everybody. And that is certainly, I know we had to wait for it, but I tell you what, it was well worth the wait, was it not? Roman Bielinski taking pole position here at Spa-Francorchamps with a 2:22.533. And what a way to do it. I'm sure his family will be cheering at home as well. They're not here this weekend, but they always travel with him. And that is absolutely fantastic for the young Pole. As I said, had plenty of wins, successes, won a championship during the off-season, but fastest here at Spa. Noah Stromstead in 2nd, Zachary David in 3rd, Matteo De Paolo in 4th, Brando Bador in 5th, Pedro Clero in 6th, Evan Gilter 7th, Ugo Guchukwu in 8th place, Edgar Pierre in 9th, Nandavud Birambakti in 10th, with Roman Andriolo in 11th. And then further down the order, we did have Dorian Pin, we had Alex Sauer, as well as Giovanni Maschio, Lena Bula. But we'll see you very soon, folks, for the race.